Watch this video if you are moving from a toxic workplace to a more supportive work environment. First of all, congratulations if you are able to leave a toxic work, because one of the things you might have noticed is you've picked up some defensive patterns that are no longer helpful in a safer workplace. So this video will show you what some of those defensive patterns are so that you can choose to participate in healthy work relationships. It's important to recognize that when we become defensive, our interactions with colleagues will hinder our ability to communicate, to relate, and to collaborate effectively. Defensive pattern number 1, ignoring feedback. Instead of being open to others' input and willing to learn from our mistakes, a defensiveness can lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and toxicity. Feedback, if it's well-meaning, is meant to help you grow. Sometimes the way it's presented can create barriers, but there's still wisdom inherent in all feedback. If you find yourself taking feedback personally, take a step back, breathe, and remind yourself that there's opportunity here. Often, that opportunity is improving your ability to accept criticism. Toxic work cultures blame each other, and you might have just gotten used to this reactionary habit. Remember that a kind workplace relates to and understands each other. It takes courage to stay present in feedback and to recognize the difference. So number 2, the second defensive pattern that you may have brought from a more toxic workplace is complaining. Usually we complain of what we're not willing to accept or experience. The complaint is deflecting responsibility and it's keeping you safe. But remember, your last place was toxic. It doesn't mean every workplace is. You don't have to complain or defend yourself when there's no real danger. If you've developed a pattern of complaining and defending yourself, practice self-compassion. These are just patterns that you've developed in a toxic workplace. It's hard to be around toxic people or negative self-depleting work practices. You were doing the best that you could. Given the circumstances, your body naturally defended itself. But now recognize you're in a safer, kinder workplace, and you don't have to defend yourself. People here care about you. They want you there. Start to notice kindness that you see in other people. Appreciate some of the more flexible, organic work practices. Slowly, you're training yourself to appreciate your workplace instead of barely tolerating it. And the third defensive work pattern that you inherit from a toxic workplace is not acknowledging your vulnerability. Toxic workplaces tend to attract people who can't be wrong because the punishment is just too high. It's tough to admit you're wrong or that you made a mistake. However, kind workplaces are humble. We know we don't always get it right. We know that we're only human, and we have good days and we have bad days. You recognize that if you struggle, it's highly likely that other people struggle too. Instead of pretending everything is okay, we can drop our defenses, be vulnerable, and find ways to support each other. Defensiveness at work is simply a trained behavioral pattern that you took on as a way to protect yourself in a toxic workplace. In a short time, you can let your body know that you're safe and you're able to thrive in a kinder, more friendly workplace. We must strive to break free from these defensive patterns and to cultivate a culture of openness, empathy, vulnerability, and growth. By practicing active listening, acknowledging your own vulnerabilities, and embracing constructive criticism, we can create a more supportive and harmonious work environment. Let's challenge ourselves to be more self-aware, to be willing to accept feedback with grace, and to approach challenges with a growth mindset. Because together, and only together, can we foster a workplace where everybody feels valued, respected, and empowered to reach their potential.